Hello guys, hi, Ms. G here, going to do this presentation on the Cold War. I want to start by telling you all guys that I miss you and that I hope you're doing your packets and I hope everyone in your family is okay. I'm here in my house today and I asked my husband to leave so I could record this and not be nervous that he's listening to me. Um, so here we go. So in the packet that you guys got, the first one, which is this one, a lot of you turned it back and I'm really happy with the work that you guys have been doing. There's a lot of information, a lot of things that I know it's going to be a little bit easier if I explain some key features to you. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the first slide. You guys know that in my classes, I always like to do like a political cartoon, something that explains a little bit what we have to be thinking about today. So for today, I put this political cartoon, which I would actually show you in class if we were in school today. So take a look at what you see. Like, take a look at this political cartoon. Read the labels. Let's read the labels first, okay? And I'm going to use my really super cool tool over here. So first I read Europe. Do you see that? So it says Europe on that side. Then there is like this type of something that looks like a wall. Do you see that? This would be like a wall that is right here. I also see that it reads over here, no admittance. That means like no entry, no one can come in. To where? Let's look at this flag on the top. Do you recognize that flag? I'm sure you do. That is the flag of the Soviet Union. And on this side, we can interpret that this is basically the Soviet Union. I see a lot of factories. Do you see the factories over here? I see pollution on the top, like a strong economy going, like industrial economy. That's on this side. On this other side, I can also read that it says Russia over here. So Russia is on that side, so we know for sure that that is Russia or the Soviet Union. I also see some people taking photographies. I see a railroad track that it's basically stopped by this. We called it wall, but now we're going to use the right word, which is the Iron Curtain. And that is one of the terms that you were supposed to study in that first packet. And then I also see this man trying to, what it looks like, to peek up this Iron Curtain and try to sneak to see what's happening on the other side. So this would be a good representation of the Cold War for many reasons. One, basically Russia, it's isolated by this Iron Curtain that it's right here. On this other side, we have people trying to run away from it, but also people trying to the curious, trying to see what is really happening, what is really going on. And this gentleman back here that I just circled in red again, he is Winston Churchill, and he is the Prime Minister of England. So that is what I want you to have in mind today. I want you to think about the Iron Curtain. I want you to think about the Soviet Union and what it is really to be in the Cold War. Let's go to the next slide. Let's remember some things from World War II. And this is a unit that we study a lot. You guys did amazing in your World War II unit. But let's specifically think about the relationship between the United States and the Soviet Union, or the USSR. Did they have a good relationship? Did they have a bad relationship? If you remember something, the Soviet Union were the ones that first came into Berlin and liberated Berlin from Hitler. And we know that then the Soviet Union was fighting Nazi Germany, and the United States was also fighting the Nazi Germany. So the United States and the Soviet Union are on the same side of the war. We're also going to see this other political cartoon right here. We know who this gentleman that I'm coloring yellow is. He is Hitler. And then we see this other gentleman over here. We know his face as well, with another big mustache and with his Soviet Union flag. These are the two leaders from two important nations at this time, Nazi Germany, Hitler, and then Joseph Stalin, if you remember. They have in common that they're both dictators, and we did that in our activity of the pop-up dictators that we did in class, so you already know that as well. They seem to be dancing. They seem to be having a good time. That's because during World War II, at the beginning, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union were actually aligned. If we keep watching this, sorry, my cell phone is blowing up. If we keep reading this, what we're going to see is that you guys are going to remember there is a pact, a deal made between both of them. We also know that Hitler is a man that does not keep his word, and Hitler breaks his deal with the Soviet Union. He invades Poland, and then Stalin changes sides in this fight during World War II, and now Stalin and the Soviet Union makes an alliance with France, the UK and the United States as well. So during World War II, and we're going to have at this top, we have Joseph Stalin right here. We have American president, and we have Woodrow Wilson. We're going to see that's FDR. We're going to see that they actually agreed on different things. The first thing that they are going to agree towards the end of the war, because basically they're the winners, they're going to agree to establish the United Nations. The United Nations is the UN, it's the same organization that it's on today, that helps with a lot of like health, education initiatives, refugee initiatives, peacekeeping initiatives, things like that. We're going to see that the division of Germany into 4 zones is going to be something that they agree. Yes, actually the country of Germany, after Hitler and the Nazi party lost, they're going to divide the country into 4 different parts, which is pretty crazy to think that a country is going to be divided this way. They're going to allow Eastern European countries to have free elections. These are the European countries that were under the control of the Soviet Union, Mr. Stalin, who is a dictator. So now we're going to see some free elections happening in countries that were under the control of that dictatorship. And also we're going to see that Russia is going to try to help defeat the Japanese. If we remember, World War II ends in 2 parts. The European theater, in which the Soviet Union goes into Germany, Berlin, and finish the war in Europe. But then the war also keeps happening in Japan, and the United States at that point was asking for help from Russia to also try to end the war in the Pacific Ocean or in the Japanese front. So they are agreeing to all of these things. So at the beginning of the Cold War and at the end of World War II, you see that the Soviet Union and the United States are on the same side, and they are agreeing to do similar things. How are we going to define the Cold War? It's a tension and a rivalry between actually 2 countries that were on the same side at some point. The United States and the Soviet Union. It's a tension and a rivalry because there's not a real war between these 2 countries. They are going to come very close to a war. That's what we're going to call hotspots. Or there's going to be proxy wars, which is like wars fought by other countries or other people on their behalf. And one major thing is that they're going to try to either stop the spread of communism, that's the United States going to try to stop communism, or they're going to want to spread communism, and that's the Soviet Union side. We're also going to continue. Just remember your 3 ones right here. This is what the world basically looked like. In blue, dark blue, you're going to see the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. These are countries that are in alliance with each other. You see Spain, you see France, you see Germany, Turkey, Italy, Canada. You also see the United States. Then you're going to see countries that declare alliance to the United States. These are going to be the countries in this lighter blue. You see a lot of Latin America as part of this, some parts of the Middle East, some parts of Africa and Australia. And then you're going to see in red socialist countries or countries aligned with the Soviet Union. We have obviously Russia. We have some countries in Africa, we have Cuba, we have other parts of Latin America as well. So basically, they're going to be divided into 2. We also see North Korea up here with a mark in yellow, and we're going to see Vietnam as well over here, countries that are also declaring alliance with the Soviet Union. So at the beginning of the Cold War, we're going to see that the world is basically splitting itself into two. We're going to see that this is a political, strategic, and philosophical competition between the United States and the Soviet Union. And also it's a competition for social and economic beliefs. Remember, one country is going to be a democracy, another country is going to be a dictatorship supported by communism and capitalism on the other side. So these are the two ideas that are going to be competing alongside this whole time. What does the United States, what are the goals that the United States have during this time? And let's look at this other image. So I see dominoes right here, and I see the Soviet Union or communism pushing into the dominoes, and then I see the United States like pushing back. This is what we call the domino effect. And we're going to start with the Soviet Union itself, then I read China, then I read Korea, then I read Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, blah, 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 all these other countries. And I see the United States trying to stop that spread. And that is actually going to be one of their first important goals, is going to be to stop the spread of communism. And another thing that the United States wants is to promote democracy in Asia and in Africa. And this is what's going to be called decolonization, which is basically the countries gaining their independence back. And that's something that's also explained in the packet with the case of Patrice Lumumba in Congo. But what does the Soviet Union want? What are their goals? We're going to see this map over here, and in the map you can see basically part of Eastern Europe. You're going to see some countries that have already changed. You see Yugoslavia, you see Czechoslovakia, East Germany, you also see the Soviet Union, and then you see a red line drawn in between the green part and the other one, this red line over here. This is what we're going to call the Iron Curtain. The Iron Curtain is going to be this line of countries that are basically protecting the Soviet Union from the other side of Europe. They're like a buffer, if you understand that concept. The Soviet Union wants to establish borders. They want to have friendly governments, friendly to them, so governments that are similar to them. And they also want to spread communism. So they're going to help other parts of the world, other countries, and other governments that align with their own ideas. And then we're going to go to the division of Germany. So with the division of Germany, what we're going to see is that Germany is split into two. Germany is going to be split into the west side and then the east side. I have a better map over here. So this is going to be Germany, and you see 4 parts, but basically if we have to draw it out, it's basically side 1, side 2. This is going to be West Germany. This is East Germany. East Germany is under the control of the Soviet Union. West Germany is under the control of the Allies. It's going to be the UK, France, and the United States. So imagine having this country that had just survived Nazi regime, Hitler's regime, and now because they lost the war, they have to restructure their whole political system, and they actually divide Germany into 2 halves, but 4 different countries are like organizing it. So it's a lot of happening in Germany at this time. And the same thing happened in the capital. So if you look, I'm going to use like a dark blue. If you look over here, what I'm circling, this is where Berlin is at. Berlin is the capital of the country. So they are going to divide the capital, Berlin, also the same way. There's going to be basically over here an East Berlin, and over here a West Berlin, which is also kind of crazy. So this is a key aspect of the Cold War. It's the division of Germany and the division of Berlin according to the winners of World War II. My second video, I'm going to show you a little bit more about Berlin. I hope everyone's okay. I miss you. Bye.